Okay, thank you, gentlemen. All right, we can move on to some announcements. Who has an announcement to share?
I do. It's Ingrid. And just wanted to remind everybody, if you have not yet signed up for the invitational dinner, please do so. You and your guests are welcome. We do have an open bar. It is at Bonnie's location, Bonnie's Barn, and she's graciously letting us host it there again. And it looks to be a fabulous time. It's a great celebration for both Mike and Susan and our whole club. Again, we are looking for a few volunteers. Dinky has been on Zoom since early this morning. So Dinky, do you have any, I believe you were, I know that Steve Schmidt is not able to join today, but if anyone's able to help us Thursday, about 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, that would be great. Dinky, do we need any folks for the evening after the party?
I'm not asking anymore. I'm just pointing and saying, be there. So Jill has been nominated. I think I nominated maybe Julie. So we'll get it cleaned up. I promise, Ms. Bonnie, it will be clean when we leave.
Well, City Barbecue is doing quite a bit of the cleanup as well.
Yeah.
So between us, I think we'll have it in good shape. But Dinky, thank you for pointing out some folks that are going to be willing to help. Mike, back to you. And again, looking forward to the celebration. It's June 24th, Friday, and come to the meeting and the installation meeting, and then make sure you've signed up for dinner. Thanks, Mike.
Excellent. So yeah, so everyone just go to your email and find that email and get yourself registered so we know how many people to plan on. And then for the installation meeting itself, next Friday morning, I'm hoping that we'll get many people to join in person at the country club. And as an enticement around that, we will have breakfast sandwiches available for everyone that attends. We will also have Bloody Marys and mimosas to begin our celebration early that day. So hopefully many of you will join us in person. Okay, other announcements.
Hey, Mike, this is Lori Reinbold. I wanted to invite everybody to join us for the Dublin 4th of July parade. We need about 12 marshals to show about 10:15 in front of Jason's Deli. I will send out some details later today, but if we could get some folks to show up, it'll be a good time, a good opportunity to support the city of Dublin for the 4th of July parade. So thank you in advance for your support.
Thanks, Lori. Any other announcements this morning?
Mike, I have one.
Hi.
Ramona and I are heading up the community services this year, and we're asking for people to join us on that committee. We'll be having our first meeting for the coming year on July the 12th, the July 12th meeting at 7 a.m. And we'll be sending out a notification about that, but just want y'all to put that on your calendar and join us as we plan the next year's events for community services.
Excellent. Thank you. It's a great committee. Other announcements? Okay, I'm going to attempt to share something with you guys that Sanan shared with some of us. Let me know if you can see my screen.
Looks good.
Awesome. Okay, so I just wanted to share this email that Sanan received. It's a thank you email from the Rotary Club in Turkey that we partnered with to fund the science lab in the high school in Turkey. And just wanted to scroll through here and show you guys some of these pictures. There's some of our Rotary brethren at the grand opening of the science lab. And then you can see some images of the science lab itself. And it looks like it's just beautiful. And you can see how excited they were to open it. There's a nicer photo there. And there's the grand opening ceremony. So just wanted to share that, just showing again how our work reaches near and far. So thank you, Sanan, for sending those along. Okay, I don't know that we have any sergeant duties today. I don't believe that we do. So we can move right to introducing our speaker. And Susan West, I'm going to turn it over to you to introduce Aaron. You have to take yourself off mute, Susan.
Thank you. All right. Guys, I'm so excited to have Aaron Westbrook with us today. Aaron has been on my calendar for, I think, almost a year now. We had exchanged emails and he was going to join us in January, but things got kind of crazy with his schedule. I don't want to take up too much of his time because he's got such a story to tell. But amazingly enough, he is the president of the New Albany Rotary, and he also just graduated from OSU, and he started the company Form5 Prosthetics. He's the CEO, the founder, and just an amazing can-do attitude that I think we could all learn so much from. But what a great story to tell. So Aaron, I will go ahead and hand over the honors to you. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Susan, and thank you all for having me. Really appreciate the opportunity to share more about Form 5 and my journey, and what a lovely introduction as well. So thank you. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I'm getting a little dangerous here, so let me know if you see my screen. Awesome. All right, so I'm here this morning to share really my passion with you. Form 5 Prosthetics is a nonprofit organization located in Gahanna. I founded the organization when I was a mere teenager in high school. I was only about 15 years old when I kind of first conceptualized this idea. And as Susan had shared, I just graduated from the Fisher College of Business at The Ohio State University. And so, starting the organization in high school, there was a lot of things that I have learned, a lot of incredible opportunities and endeavors that I've been able to explore. The last 4 years has been quite an undertaking. And I would say myself and the entire organization is really excited about what the future holds now that I can be full-time, nonstop Form 5, and really take this to the next level and how it will empower so many others. So just wanting to highlight, of course, the incredible team of individuals that we have at the organization. These are our board of directors and some of our committee chairs. We have about 12 individuals that are on board and committee, but across the organization, we have about 45 volunteers that are supporting Form 5's mission in a bunch of different ways. And I'm just very grateful for them. As a young person, I'm often sitting in boardrooms of people who are much older than me and obviously have way more life experience than I do. And so could not do what we have accomplished without them. And of course, just wanted to spotlight them in my presentation. So what does Form 5 do? Form 5 exists to empower people to interact with their world and their future more successfully. So, really looking broad at our mission, we really want to create products that show people a new sense of capability. We want to have people be independent and confident in their abilities. And really that extends to, I think, just the greater community of people with disabilities. But when we look at the vision of Form 5, and when I dive more into my personal story and founding the organization, our vision really roots us in the limb difference community. We really believe at Form 5, we do innovative work in creating prosthetics, but really the impact that Form 5 makes extends beyond the physical product. And we really work to ensure that individuals with limb differences have the confidence, the resources, and the support to accomplish anything that they imagine. So diving a little bit more into my story and why I started Form 5 so many moons ago. So I start from the very beginning, and I'll do a very quick timeline because I could take the whole presentation talking about myself, and I've learned that Form 5 is doing such great work that now the narrative is more Form 5 than it is me. But I do think this window of time is very important to share. So of course, I was born in 1999. So I just reversed aged myself with the group here. So that makes me 23 years old. In 1999, my parents had no idea that I was going to be born with a limb difference. And so it was an incredible shock to my entire family. And really at that time, there was no resources. There was no kind of support group or community or, association that connected people with, shared experiences. And so very much in my adolescence, growing up in the 2000s, myself and my parents kind of had to navigate this two-handed world and kind of have me adapt to it. And I always share this story because the picture you see on the screen is myself. I am on a four-wheeler and I'm sticking my tongue out and I'm living my best life. And really what this picture shows, the story behind it is almost retrospective of like, if Form 5 existed when I was younger, how could have it impacted me? And so obviously I love the four-wheeler, as you can see in the photo, but I really wanted a dirt bike. It was on every single list that a child could have, my birthday list, my Christmas list. I really, really wanted a dirt bike that was one of those power wheel dirt bikes. And if any of you have ever ridden a motor vehicle, it often has a throttle, which is on the right side. And so I was born without my right hand. My forearm stopped shortly after my elbow. And so it's not impossible, but it was an incredible challenge to figure out how to do something like that. And as every good parent would do, they called and asked Power Wheels, is this something you could help us with, our son? And of course, they're a large corporation. And they were like, we make tens of thousands of these a day. There's not anything that we can do for just your one child. And so very quickly, I think that I learned as a child that, there was things that I was going to have to navigate around. But I look back now in my role at Form 5 and how we can really change moments like this and create solutions to where kids aren't, getting the four-wheeler over the dirt bike, or they're able to ride their bike with their friends and not sit back on the sidelines. That's really why Form 5 exists. So going into kind of my high school age, so in 2014, I started a blog. So for the first time, I think through social media, a great gift, if used properly, you can connect with people who are like you, and maybe who aren't like you. And for the first time, I connected to a whole world community of people with limb differences. And it inspired me to kind of share my story. And so that's really kind of the start of this organization. It was called Alive with 5. And so Alive with 5 documented my first experience in getting a prosthesis. So it wasn't until I was in high school that I received a prosthetic, and really was aware or exposed to the barriers that people face. And so understanding that really, it rattled me, and I wanted to make a difference even at 16, 15 years old, and started researching just new ways, new means of manufacturing prosthetics, which is ultimately landed on 3D printing. And so collaborated with some universities across the nation who were getting into this research and looking for individuals to test some of these concepts and these ideas, and have always been interested in technology. And I think this, in many ways, this experience creating my first prosthetic arm, 3D printing my own prosthetic arm, was like a very culmination of my efforts. There was all these things I've done with technology and photography and things like that, and everything kind of just came together. And I would say from that moment, it's completely changed my life. And from that day forward, I knew that this technology and the way that it impacted me and empowered me, I knew had to be channeled to impact others. And so when I was 16 years old, in 2016, I gave a TED Talk, which really laid the foundation of my idea and aspirations of turning Form 5 into a nonprofit. I do see some questions in the chat. Thank you so much, Ingrid. So looking at Form 5 and what we do so much. It's when we're growing actively. And so really have started evolving kind of how we talk about the organization lately. And it's really 4 pillars, impact focuses. I've kind of taken this from Rotary, Rotary 7 areas of focus. Form 5 has these kind of 4 areas of focus, and has committees kind of tied to these things that are really driving impact forward. One of them being foundation. So looking at opportunities that Form 5 can build awareness around its mission and people with limb differences. Obviously, foundation housing a lot of our fundraising efforts, grants, community outreach. We also have research and development. We have an R&D committee that's working year-round and is also working towards a manufacturing level scale of providing devices to people with limb differences. We also do education. We have educational workshops where we're inspiring high school and college students interested in an engineering or medical pathway to explore this as a potential career path. As well as we're looking at sustainability. There's a lot of research to be done in recycling plastics. I was very adamant since Form 5's inception that we will be a green organization and aim to meet sustainability goals with the intention that that is an opportunity for the organization to build capacity and grow its mission to a national, if not global scale. So I'm going to dive into each of these pillars and I get to show you some fun photos as well. So foundation, I had mentioned, one of the programs that we run kind of under this pillar is our NUB Club, a fantastic name. The NUB Club was Central Ohio focused, but we now have more state focus, if not kind of starting to grow to Midwest. But really this is an opportunity for people with limb differences to connect. It's cultivating community. It's allowing for people to be represented and share their experiences. We've learned that the NUB Club is just as important for parents as it is for the individuals with limb differences. Research and development is kind of broken into 4 different sections. So these are the types of devices that Form 5 creates. So more of our lifestyle devices is looking at, independence, everyday tasks, brushing your teeth, doing your hair. The example I always give, which it's hard for me, I can empathize, but I've never experienced it. Girls with limb differences, or even guys with longer hair, how do they brush their hair and hold a hair dryer at the same time? Some of these very unique solutions, these everyday tasks that a lot of people take advantage of, or don't, recognize that, they're taking for granted, I guess is what I meant to say. And so these lifestyle devices really are aiming to help people be more independent. We're also getting into mobility. So are there specific activities that people with limb differences would want to explore that might be more challenging? This is a picture of myself and my dear friend, Jody. We rode in Pelotonia last year, the furthest either of us have ridden on a bike in our entire life. I hadn't been on my bike since I was about 10 years old. It was really hard to ride my bike because I would always lean over. It would hurt my shoulder for an extensive period of riding. And so Form 5 innovated a bicycle prosthesis for Jody at one of our workshops. And through working with her and seeing her get on that bike, I just looked at her and I said, I have to do it with you. And so her and I rode last year. And I would say that's just one example of kind of the unique relationship that I share with each of Form 5's recipients. The next is activity. So we're really looking at these custom application devices. A lot of people look at Form 5, or a lot of people look at the term prosthetics. And I know all of you came into this meeting today thinking prosthetics are a hand, arm, or leg. And at Form 5, we really like to blow up that perspective because we really think prosthetics are just a tool that allow people with limb differences to achieve whatever that task may be. And so we worked with this young girl this past year on a device to help her play softball. So it was really hard for her to hold a glove on her residual limb and keep it on and catch the ball, and also needed that length. And so we innovated an early prototype of this device, but we've also done some for musical instruments. So we helped a young boy play the cello to hold the cello bow. Really as an organization, we just look to meet people's needs and understand what is that task that they want to do and how as an organization we can create that solution either through our R&D or through our educational workshops. So other is kind of our catch-all category. With the technology of 3D printing and the kind of human-centered mission of Form 5, we're always looking at how we can empower people. And I think the best example of that is the work that we did during the COVID-19 pandemic. Over 2020, Form 5 pivoted its production and really scaled to a manufacturing level for the first time and produced face shields. We actually our R&D committee invented now a patented face shield that was reusable. So it wasn't single use. You could actually clean it. You could switch out the clear covers. And through the support of Rotary, when I literally 2 weeks into becoming a Rotarian, supported this initiative and Form5's efforts, and so many others as well. But Rotary, I think, really inspired me to think bigger for Form5. And through the generosity of the community and volunteerism, Form5 manufactured in just a year with volunteers 6,254 face shields, and we donated all of those to human health service organizations. And so when I first started doing this, I thought that we were going to get a call from Wexner Medical Center, and they were going to we want all your face shields. That did not happen. We really had an opportunity to help small rural communities. We were helping Licking County Memorial. We were helping Maryhaven. We were helping more smaller health clinics that didn't have access to this really necessary personal protective equipment during the pandemic. And so just an example of, Form5's mission being broad allowed us to do something to this magnitude. So education, so we do 2 workshops. Prefab is our high school workshop and CoFab is our college workshop. The main difference is that prefab, they build prefabricated kits because they're just high school students. And then college age students at CoFab, they actually work to make an initial prototype for a recipient. So they're a little bit more engaged with the user. So this is our CoFab workshop. Just kind of sharing some images. We bring about 15 students from different colleges in the different majors. We're really big about bringing in different perspectives. So not just the engineers, but the occupational therapists, as well as some industrial designers or product designers. It's really neat to see all of those industries and their way of navigating projects kind of melding together. And it's really neat for our collaboration fabrication event. So our prefab, we just launched prefab. We've only done 1. We've done 3 CoFabs. We're doing our 4th one this fall, but we just did our first prefab in May. Actually, we did it in Minneapolis. And so we're starting to grow a little bit further than Ohio. And we did it at a museum and it was fantastic. I would say the students were almost, if not more impressive than some of the college students we worked with, which I think goes to show how incredible STEM education is and how much it's growing in schools. And the problem solving skills that these kids have is just amazing. I'm so envious of the things that students have access to now. I mean, their robotics teams are creating all these crazy robots. And when I was in high school, my robotics team was 3 people in a closet of the high school. That was the robotics team. So really impressive. And then sustainability, the last pillar. Form5 has just been actively researching and has built out a proprietary process in which we break down plastic waste and we turn it into material for our printers. And so really looking at becoming an eco-friendly organization. There's a lot of waste accumulated in our prototyping. And as you can imagine, prosthetics are incredibly expensive. Currently, Form5's business model is we give all of our devices away for free. But as we look to grow, we see a lot of opportunity in this sustainability pillar of the organization, not only to recycle our waste and recycle generic waste, to fuel our mission with, material to make devices, but it's also an opportunity to potentially take that material and go to market with it. How can we leverage this kind of operation of the organization to earn revenue so that if we grow to a level, we have, a revenue engine that can support our endeavors of making sure everyone with a limb difference is empowered with a prosthesis. All right, that was a lot of information, and I'm sure you're burning with questions. And so I will really turn it back over to you guys for questions. I'll turn my screen off just so that I can see your lovely faces, but want to thank you for your time and having me here. And I really look forward to all of your questions.
Go ahead, Bill.
Aaron, Bill Andrews again, great presentation. I am sure I am, as I'm sure you are, where there are certain established businesses in the market right now that provide development of tools and as lay people like myself might say prosthetics. How do you see your business in context of those established businesses? Are there some differentiators that you believe can help you grow? Is the path forward more collaboration? What are your thoughts today?
I just would clarify. So you're saying what are the main differentiators between Form5 and those in the industry?
Yeah, the established providers of these.
That's a great question. I would say what makes Form5, what differentiates the most is that we are by and for people with limb differences. And I would say when I was getting my first prosthesis from a clinic, a well-known provider, I felt for the longest time, I used to describe it as there was this lack of innovation, which is incorrect. I've been saying it wrong the past few years. It was a disconnect in innovation. And the disconnect is that there's great work happening in these labs, and they're doing the same research and they're all creating the same thing, but they're not including people with limb differences. We are not a part of that innovation. And I think that is what Form5 does, and we do it really well. And I think through our approach from education to our R&D, we're a very inclusive, collaborative organization. And then I think in addition to that, we're looking at very unique and sustainable means of manufacturing to allow us to scale to a level that we can grow and have the impact that we know we will have.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome. Terrific question. Any other questions? Don't be shy. There's so many things that I don't talk about because there's so much that I have to cover. So I try to leave things open for you to ask questions.
Well, Aaron, sort of along a similar line, I was wondering if you work with any other companies, if people come to you and say, hey, I need a youth outreach program, or I need a sustainability program, or is that something that you'd be interested in doing, or an area that we can help connect you with, or what are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So as we start to kind of package up our workshops and our curriculum, we're really at a point now where we want to start reaching out to educational institutions, how we can offer them, and also look at that being, looking kind of overall organizational sustainability, kind of business plan sustainability. How can we maybe earn revenue through some of our workshops? Are there museums or colleges and universities that would support us, knowing that that fuels the greater mission of the organization? So absolutely, we would be interested in how we can partner with more education. I haven't had any conversations with anyone at Dublin schools, and I think they would be a great fit for some of the work that we're doing. I've started to get on the school circuit, and I've toured some schools, definitely some of the STEM schools. Again, I'm super impressed with some of the technology these kids have at their fingertips. So
it is amazing, isn't it?
It's really cool.
Yeah, no, that's great. We do have some folks that are Dublin members. I don't know if any of them, Dublin schools, I don't know if any of them are on at the moment.
Aaron, if you'd like, I can make a good connection for you. And I just need your email address. So can you?
I can put it. Yeah, I can put that in the chat. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm technologically handicapped here myself, so I just however you can get it to me quickly, and I'll.
Perfect. I just sent it in the chat, and then also wanted to say thank you, Jeff, for your very kind note. It's amazing how much things have grown with Form5 and in really a short amount of time. It's felt like a long time, but it's really been a short amount of time.
Great.
Hey, Aaron, speaking of that, like, do you and your board have ideas or plans about scaling, and what are your goals around scaling up the operation?
Absolutely. Well, obviously, fundraising in the short definition or answer to that question. Really the kind of those 4 pillars, the last few years, I would say every consultant and every person I've talked to has told me, pick one of those and just stick to it. And I refuse. I think really those 4 pillars are social impact engines. And I think there's so much that we've done in moving each of those forward that I just want to see each of those, grow and impact more people. I think there's a lot of opportunity, having that very channeled focus now as an organization, is really important. And I think that will kind of encourage more capacity building. I think right now, really one of our biggest goals is to grow the organization to where we can retain staff. We only have 4 staff members, and you're talking to one of them right now. And that didn't happen until about 2 months ago. And so we're still a very young organization. We turned 5 years old, our big fifth birthday in August. So it's amazing what we've done, but there's still a lot of work to do. And so we really just want to grow and legitimize the work that we're doing. And we're very blessed that we have a community of people who believe in the organization, who give to the organization, knowing that this period, this kind of chapter in the organization is so important for us to really actualize the vision that we have.
How did you learn about 3D manufacturing and all that?
Yeah, that's a great question. Honestly, a lot of it has been on my own. I've been self-taught. There was, when I started in high school, there was about one teacher who was trained how to use the facility. This was very, very early on when they started introducing STEM into schools. And I wasn't even in a class. I actually went to the teacher and I told him, this is my crazy idea. And I know you're the person with the keys to the room. And can we figure this out together? And so I learned through him, but there was a lot that I kind of figured out on my own and did my own research. And so have kind of been self-taught in that area. But as the organization's grown, we have incredible engineers and designers from major companies in the area, Honda, AEP, Battelle, that sit on committees and help design and innovate our devices now.
Impressive.
Thank you.
Aaron, what did you major in at Fisher?
So Fisher College of Business, my specialization was marketing. So
Very good.
Yep.
Have you been on a bicycle since Peloton?
Oh my goodness, no. I will say this, my legs were on fire. It was a lot.
But you bring up so many points that we all take for granted. And one is that, yeah, riding a bike would be very difficult. Yet you figured out a way. Could you use that to help Peloton attract more riders?
Yeah, I would say we received a really incredible support from Pelotonia. They covered our story, and I think there's a lot of opportunity for us to connect with, and there's a lot of other races like Pelotonia too. So like kind of nationally, there's kind of a coalition per se that, we can try to tap into and see if there's individuals that we can support, in their kind of aspiration of getting across that finishing line.
How many miles did you ride?
I rode 25 and I did not train nearly enough. James, I did not train nearly enough. I probably averaged 10 miles like the week before I had to do the race. And I did this is what they say. And I don't know if they just say this just to sucker you into it, but they tell you the first 10 miles are nothing. You don't even feel them. You're so excited, your adrenaline's going. And then they don't ever tell you the last half of that sentence, which is the last 10 miles are awful. And it was very hot that day. My legs were on fire. But it was awesome. It was very, very cool. And I'm going to ride this year too. So I need to start training.
Great. Any final questions or comments for Aaron?
Yeah, Aaron. How do you handle replacement parts and so forth? Looks like these things vary according to the person or their needs. And I can see they get a lot of use and abuse. I think I see somebody with a softball glove and all that. So how is that taken care of? Do you have replacement parts, or they submit a claim or whatever?
Yeah, that's a great question. Usually they just, will submit like a request and we will work with them to kind of repair whatever's broken. But as we kind of grow and want to scale to that manufacturing level, it's been nice that Form 5's been out of the box and we do create very bespoke kind of one-off devices, but we're starting to look at how we can standardize so that when we grow to that manufacturing level, we'll kind of have that kind of support kind of arm that is able to kind of fix those simple and repair and send out, replacement parts. So yeah, we're kind of looking at the product life cycle as we kind of grow to that manufacturing level. So a lot of that is still kind of in research and development. Great question. Thank you guys so much again for your eagerness to learn more.
Well, Aaron, thank you. Terrific. I mean, just a true inspiration. All the best to you with Form 5. All the best to you in your Rotary year. We look forward to staying connected to you, and I'm sure Susan will help us do that. So thank you for being here. Just a reminder, next week is our installation meeting. Everyone who can, please come out to the club, enjoy a Bloody Mary or a mimosa, and begin our celebration. And this week's quote comes from Brené Brown. Vulnerability is the birthplace of innovation, creativity, and change. And Aaron, you are a true inspiration. Again, thanks for being with us, and thanks everyone for joining, and we'll see you next week. Have a great week.
See ya. Thank you. Love Brené Brown. She's terrific.
Bye, everybody.